Good afternoon, everybody out there. My name is Matt Sweetwood, and I am here with Eddie Geller, CEO, founder of Tinybeans.
Hi, thanks so much. Great to be here. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, we're here in Manhattan on a hot summer day in the world headquarters.
Totally.
So this is a very impressive building that you have here. It's right across from Bryant Park.
Yeah.
The location can't be beat. I actually took the train in from New Jersey and walked over here. So you like being in this building, right? Great coffee.
Yeah, it's great, and obviously so close to everything else.
So we're going to do an ad for, what is it, Blue Bottle?
Blue Bottle.
Blue Bottle. This coffee is really good. It's almost good as the coffee that I have in my store. So for those of you who don't know, I am president of Unique Photo. That's New Jersey's coolest and biggest camera store. We're actually known for our photography education program here. And the reason I'm here with Eddie today is we're going to talk, we have a lot of things in common, right? So we met through the world famous, that's Repeat Craning,
Okay.
the world famous CMO club, but we really have a lot of interactions in our life, a lot of intersections.
Yeah.
We're into photography. Your app is really all about photography. My day job, which pays the bills and the ex-wives, is really about photography. And we also happen to be dads.
Yes, totally.
Right, I'm a little bit further on in the dad lineage there, because I have 5 kids, they're all in their 20s, and you have how many kids?
4 boys.
4 boys, wow. You're actually really lucky with 4 boys, by the way, because girls are, they're slightly different. Because usually you hear it's the guy who has all the women in the house and he's stuck with all the women in the house, but that's not the case. So let's talk a little bit about photography. I think that's really a good way. So why don't you explain what your app does?
Sure. Fantastic. So Tinybeans is all about moments, and obviously moments are all about being captured every day with the parents, with the kids, with the grandparents, etc. So basically, it's a private social network where you can capture these wonderful moments, be it a photo, be it a video, and you share them privately with your families all over the world.
And what's your primary audience? Like, who do you think is using this app?
So basically, it's parents, millennial mums predominantly, and their families. So be it grandparents, be it aunts and uncles, close friends, where they basically become people that involved with the family's journey. So parents are capturing photos, videos, moments, etc., and the whole family is part of that journal.
And now you quickly went over the word private when you said that to me. So private and internet, tend to be a little bit conflicting kinds of terms. So let's talk about the privacy aspect, because to me that's really at the heart of what you're doing. Because I would just turn to you and say, what do I need your app for? Right? Your app runs on iPhone and Android and the web. Okay, and so I would say to you, what do I need your app for? I have Facebook.
Totally.
Right, so and I am a big Facebook user. You can find me on Facebook at msweetwood. Go out there now and you'll see pictures of me with lots of pretty women and all sorts of other things out there. But anyway, so why wouldn't I just post my pictures of my kids on Facebook?
Sure, 2 main reasons, and we get that question asked a lot, so it's a great question. Number one is that Facebook is generic. It's everything to everyone. So you could be talking about travel, talking about the weekend away, talking about finance, talking about old college buddies. So it's basically all information is generic, and you're sharing it with everyone. And the other thing is that basically there's no privacy by default. So Facebook owns the information and it's not private.
Yeah, well, if you want privacy, you have to lock your page down so tight nobody's
really be part of it.
Right. Okay.
Whereas Tinybeans is only ever about the child, with one focus. So you're basically capturing these moments about children and you're sharing with the family. So it's not like you're also using Tinybeans for travel and for finance and
whatever. Right. I have a pretty sophisticated brand on Facebook. I use it for a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I write blogs on parenting. I'm writing a book on parenting. I talk about the photo business. I talk about all the various things I do. So you're right. It's definitely and it's sort of funny to watch the audiences mix.
Yeah.
Because I'll write a blog on parenting. I'll post a link to the blog, and I'll have the photography people in my life, because I'm running this big camera store. I interact with all these photographers. They're commenting on it. I guess because parenting is a wide category, it sort of works, but it is. I understand exactly what you mean.
Totally.
If you have pictures of your child, I assume this is for newborn.
Well, it's newborn, 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds. I mean, 15-year-olds. At the end of the day, you want to capture these moments and share it with your family. And Facebook, you don't want to be seeing photos of your friends' kids every day. No, a couple times.
Yeah, well, I have a no rule, right? So on my Facebook, if you follow me, I'm following you, and there's more than like one picture of your family a day, we might get near that unsubscribe button.
Totally.
It's cats, dogs, and kids. They're beautiful. Everybody's are beautiful, but I really, limited
Small
you.
doses.
Small doses.
Whereas with Tinybeans, the grandparents, aunts and uncles want to see it every day. they don't get sick and tired of seeing their grandkids or nieces and nephews every day. Whereas your friends on Facebook don't want to see that every day.
So I just want to understand the way the app works. So you take a picture on your phone, or you take it on your camera even, I assume.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, right? Because we run a camera store, so we like cameras.
Yeah.
And we're actually filming this on a really small camera, really cool setup right here, in 4K, so we can see all the wrinkles on my face and all the hair that's not there on my head. In any event, so you take the picture, and then how do you actually get it into Tinybeans?
So basically, using your phone, you're capturing these photos and videos, and then you launch the app. And the app talks to your camera roll, and you can add whatever photos or videos straight to the app.
Okay.
And then what's cool about it is that as soon as you add them to the app, whoever you've invited to your journal gets notified. So like grandparents, your friends, etc. get notified in almost real time or daily, depending on your settings, about the photos, the moments you've added.
Now, what if I have, what if grandma isn't really on the internet, or how does grandma get involved?
So the only thing grandma needs is an email address. That's it. Doesn't need a savvy phone or an app. So basically what happens is that you invite grandma to the journal, and automatically grandma starts getting emails of the photos of the day. So they're thrilled because they see the photos and the videos of the day.
So you pick exactly, it doesn't send all the photos in your phone or your camera if you upload them to your phone. You just pick the ones, and does it go to your whole network at once, or do you actually pick the people in the network?
No, so basically anyone you've invited to your journal gets notified. So if you have 10 people, 15 people, or 20, it's completely up to you. You control who gets to see your kids every day. And if you, let's say, invited a nanny, they're no longer nannying your kids, you can take them off. Like, you're in full control.
I see. And
it's
totally private, right?
Totally
because
private.
It's really controlled by, if your email's private, it's going to be private. Now, let's say I'm a little more sophisticated and I have the app.
Sure.
Would I be able to see, if I'm in your network, I'd be able to see through the app the pictures?
Totally. So you get a push notification to go, Eddie's out in a moment. You can go directly straight away and see the moment. So you need to decide whether or not you want a push notification or an email, etc.
And okay, so now we do this, I have my newborn, because when you have a newborn, everybody's taking pictures. Mm-hmm. My nephew actually just had a baby, and basically the whole entire family, I've seen, I haven't quite figured out the relation yet, but I think I'm a grand uncle. I haven't quite, as long as it doesn't say I'm not like a grandfather, that's good, or I'm a great uncle. No, I'm a great uncle, right, which means I'm not that old yet.
Super wise.
I like the great title, not the grand title. But I've seen lots of pictures flowing through on Facebook on there from relatives, and every time somebody touches the baby, basically a picture goes up. Yeah. And so you're able to then really control what goes out there, in terms of picking the quality of the images, which I think is a really important aspect of it.
Yeah, the other key thing is that I don't think families appreciate that every time they upload a photo, whether it's Instagram or it's Facebook, the location is known. You can easily, the location. And you're sharing these moments of your kids that you don't know what's going to happen to in the future. And there's all sorts of basically potential risk around doing that. Whereas, what's the benefit? It doesn't really outweigh the.
See, I think that obviously security is always an issue when you have pictures of your kids and things like that. But I think there's a bigger issue here, and I'm guessing that you're going to have a really good answer for this. Is that a lot of people take all of these pictures of their family, of whatever is going on in their life, they upload them to Facebook, they store them, but they really don't have a 20-year plan. Mm-hmm. And your product is going to provide that 20-year plan.
Sure.
I went through, I'm in the photo business, and I'm really anal retentive about this, and OCD at the same time.
Sure.
So I've organized all my pictures for my whole life. I had my daughter digitize them, the ones that were filmed, and we uploaded them online. I uploaded them all to Dropbox. We spent weeks, probably months on this project. And then I handed them the key to the Dropbox, the password and everything, and said, hey, I did my job. If I get hit by a bus, you have all the pictures from your life.
Totally.
But people are definitely not doing that.
No.
And I assume that you have a way of chronicling this and then holding on to it.
Yeah, sure. I think one of the major challenges today is because it's so easy to snap a photo. Families have photos everywhere, be it on the iPhone 4 they first bought, to the iPhone 5, to the 6, to the Android, to the desktop, to people who have emailed it to them.
Right, some are on Mac, some are on
WhatsApp,
PC, family,
Facebook, it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas what we're all about is if you've got to do with your kids, you can keep it in Tinybeans. You can keep it in one place. It's all in the cloud. It's all backed up. You can use it on multiple devices, all synchronized. And what's also great is there's an offline experience. So if you're not connected to the internet or Wi-Fi, you can still access all the moments on the phone, on the devices.
And are the pictures stored on multiple devices? This is always a question you get asked. There's a lot of photo storage programs in the photography business. There's a new product called Mylio, which allows you to share on all your devices and everything. where are the pictures located? So I understand they're in the cloud. They're stored in the Tinybeans cloud. I like this. You have you're using an
Amazon, sure.
You're using an Amazon, which everybody in the world, Dropbox uses. People don't realize that, but Dropbox actually uses the Amazon cloud. So you have them up there. But when I connect my computer, are the images downloaded to my computer, or are they just thumbnails of the images? What are they?
So basically, if you're browsing, it's all thumbnails. As you look at it, they're basically optimized, versions of it. We'll never actually, give you the raw files unless you exported it and backed it up. It's up to you.
I see. But you can back it up locally.
Totally.
Because I'm fanatical about this. Keep in mind, on my Dropbox, I have, not only do I have it on Dropbox, but I have a RAID drive which syncs to Dropbox, which I have an location and stored. Because you don't want your memories lost.
Sure.
And what happens? We're right here in Manhattan, and what happens when somebody, God forbid, drops a nuclear bomb on your beautiful headquarters here? What happens to my images? So I still have the ability to back those up.
Sure, totally. So basically, as part of our premium version, you can actually export whatever photos you like and videos, and they're exported in their raw format.
Got it.
As opposed to like a JPEG or GIF, they're all in the raw format.
Okay, so I heard the word premium. So premium always suggests to me money.
It is. So there's a free version of the app
which allows you to do
a whole bunch of basic things. You can upload, 30-second videos. You can upload a photo at a time, and there are some standard slideshows in the app. The premium allows you a much richer experience. The premium can do 5-minute videos. You can do up to 20 photos at a time, and you can export and back up all your photos. And you can create customized slideshows.
And how much is a premium version?
It's $8 a month or $8 a year.
I got it. Okay, so it's a pretty reasonable. I pay more than that. I pay a lot more for that than Dropbox, and Dropbox is all manual.
And there's no limit to storage.
I understand.
There's no limit to storage.
Dropbox, has a large limit, but yes, there is a limit to storage.
Yeah.
And I noticed you said the word slideshow, so that means you could be sending slideshows, I assume, to grandma, and she can just click on them in the email.
And just play them. And just play them through the web. And what's great is that you can have as many as you like through premium. You can create one for your kid's birthday party. You can create one for upcoming wedding, whatever you like. And it's all done through these photo collections that you create.
See, what's really most appealing to me about all of this is that, and this has been my life too, this is why we have this connection, is that photography has been such an important part of my life. It's it's business. I sell cameras, but I consider myself a photographer. I know a lot of photographers watching this will wince when I say that, but I consider myself a photographer, and I've spent a lot of time chronicling my kids' lives. And when I write my blogs now, if you go out to my website, msweetwood.com, you're going to see that every blog has meaningful pictures. I just did a post on LinkedIn where I talked about leadership and so on, and something I did with my son. I found a picture of my son playing soccer from high school that I stuck in there. It's just really nice to be able to have all of this. So I really think that photography changes lives, and that's what's so appealing about your application, is that it's not just an app on your phone that, like Instagram. So everybody uses Instagram. Yeah. Instagram is fun. You take a picture, you share it, everybody talks about it. But I don't know how much it changes lives. What you're doing is you're actually affecting people's lives. Totally. You're creating a journal, a photographic journal that's going to be handed down generation to generation. I think that's a really big deal.
Yeah, there's two real dimensions. One is this journal that you're chronicling every day, and you create this sort of beautiful repository of all these moments of your children. But also what's more powerful is that your family have front row seats of your child every day. So we have parents that share Tinybeans moments with their great-grandparents, and we've got emails from them saying we wake up in the morning and live for getting our Tinybeans moments in the morning.
I can see that.
And great-grandparents are involved with their child.
Right, spread across the country, across the world.
Anywhere around the world.
Right. You can share.
And they're connected. They feel connected. They feel a sense of understanding as to where the child is at, and it brings such happiness and joy. Whereas they share on Facebook and get 18 likes, they're not going to get that.
And not only that, Facebook controls. So if you take somebody, even if you want to share your moments on Facebook, if they themselves are not an avid Facebook user, it's not going to appear on their wall. They'd have to be a little more sophisticated, know to go to your wall and actually find the picture, because Facebook controls the content like this. It forces them. I can imagine families that are separated across the world feel connected under this.
Sure.
It's such a really incredible thing you're doing. I'm surprised. I guess you get to be first. Nobody thought of this kind of centering it around the children and families. Let me just ask you. So, did your being a family man, you're founder of the company, did your having children drive this?
Yeah. So basically, I'm one of 3 founders. Between the 3 of us, we have 9 children, and we're parents. So we're parents first, and we're all about our children. And basically, the problems we want to solve with Tinybeans is around the moments, without a doubt, to capturing moments to share privately. But the other, I think, more richer problem we want to solve is how do we help parents with the developmental stage of their children. And
so since parenting was obviously a fundamental part of creating the company and the app, tell me what it was that actually gave you guys the idea to actually create an app to do this. What were you doing? Were you like saying, oh my gosh, I can't share my pic? What was it?
Sure, totally. So basically I'm one of three founders. Stephen Young is the original founder. So basically he's got a beautiful backstory. So he has three boys. I've got four boys, but it's funny that he's got three. His first child, basically about 6 years ago, was speech delayed. And he was 3 years old and struggling to talk. And he would go to all these specialists for all this advice, and nothing really worked. And then he stumbled upon the concept of developmental milestones, how each child grows up differently. And he learned that his boy was ahead in fine motor gross motor, but behind in speech and language. And he naturally, basically, stepped up and started to talk. So he started a sort of a small checklist on the web where parents can go there and tick off milestones to see where their child is at. Didn't really take off, he was still working somewhere else and he left it. Anyway, fast forward to basically 2012, he had his third child, and basically his parents were about 45 minutes from him. Kept on reminding him, oh, can you send me photos of your little kid? And him being the lazy geek goes, oh, I haven't got the time for that, I'll build a simple app that basically takes the photos and automatically sends emails to them, so I don't have to be bothered doing it myself. And then his friends got wind of it going, that's cool, I want to send automatic photos to my family. And then that's where Tinybeans was born. So he quit his job and he started Tinybeans. He met Sarah Jane, one of the co-founders, a week later, and met me 2 weeks later. And basically, so all of us obviously have natural affinity to the story. We all have children and we all appreciate basically long distance families and obviously developmental milestones, and that's how we came to
I love that story because it's really such an organic story.
Yeah.
How you almost want it, like I didn't want to hear that it was some developer in in some other country or something, and you got the product. It actually was a very organic, natural development.
Sure.
One of the things that I always say for me is, my story is a very interesting story in that I raised 5 kids on my own. I have 2 boys and 3 girls. I forget sometimes. Too many of them. And I raised them from when they were little by myself. I'm a single parent.
Amazing.
And for me, when that happened, it was a transformative event in my life, not just because I had this responsibility, but I look at where I am now. My kids raised me. I always say I raised them now. My kids are in their 20s. I had them when they were babies, raised them to their 20s, and then I look at myself and how much it's raised me. How has your children are how old right now?
12, 10, 7, and 4.
Okay, so you're still in the you got a long to see. That hair, that beautiful hair is going to look like this by the time they're 20. It's definitely going to happen.
So I got 8 to 10 years to go.
You're right. You got this. This is your future right here. Tell me how being a parent has made you grow. How has that helped you?
Well, to be honest with you, I personally think it's the hardest job in the world. I'm constantly thinking about behaviors, interactions, what I say, how I say it, all that type of stuff, because I strongly believe that they're taking guidance from us every way, when they look at us, when they don't look at us. How our actions, how we communicate, how we talk, how we interact with other people. So I personally feel it's very, very hard to do. But having said that, it's a wonderful experience. Basically, when you're behaving a certain way, then you see how they behave as a consequence of how you behave. Positive and negative is just amazing.
Children model you, right? So once you realize, you've actually sometimes parents don't realize this till it's too late. But you realize that they are going to model you, and as a result, because you know they're modeling you and you love your children. I love my children a lot, and as a result of that, you then behave better. You then learn to sort of model yourself in the way that you want. And that itself, just carrying the hardest job in the world, as you said, and carrying the responsibility and then modeling yourself to try to make it so that they're successful, because we ultimately want them successful, because if they're not, then we feel like failures as human beings, and they never get off the payroll, which is a practical application of that. If they're not, independent and functional, it makes you, it just elevates your level.
Totally.
So, there's something spiritual about that. When you take on the hardest job in the world, to use your quote, you are then, once you actually accept that challenge and conquer it, you then yourself elevate yourself. And I think that's really at the heart of fatherhood.
Totally.
For fathers that are involved like that, for me, when you take on that responsibility, you're getting, in a way, more than you think you can handle. When that child is there and all of a sudden you have these kids like, how can I possibly handle this? And I have a thing that I like to say, I actually give a speech on this, is that when you get in your life more than you think you can handle, you're going to end up getting much more than you ever thought you could get. and your children pay you those rewards as they go, and I'm sure you see that now.
Totally.
I have 5 successful children. They're all superstars, and the rewards I get from that are just, immense. And if I hadn't gotten that challenge, I wouldn't be there.
Totally. I just think the interactions you have with them are incredible, and they're just so basic, and you can get such wonderful joy from them for the most basic of things, and it reminds you of what life's all about. Because here we are in lives, hustling and bustling, doing all the things we want to be successful, where it actually all boils down to day to day. Nothing beats engaging with your kids, and the satisfaction, both positive and negative, and the challenges and the wonderful aspects, with them. It's just amazing.
I think that is really a fundamental thing that I know. I'm writing a book. And the book is called Man Up. And the modern art of parenting, and I really want to talk about fatherhood in a way. If I could have my wish, one of the things that I'd like to accomplish is to change the view of fatherhood. I think a lot of young men who end up becoming fathers, maybe sometimes before they want to, look at fatherhood as this life burden, something, and that's why they run away.
Mm-hmm.
In certain communities in our country, the single mother rate is enormous.
Yeah.
And I think that's because the fathers view fatherhood as a disaster. It's a jail sentence. But the reality is that fatherhood is probably the best. It's the opposite. It's the best life you can choose. You should stick it out. If you stick it out, you're going to end up with these immense rewards.
Without a doubt. And you're having daily interaction with them, and you just provide, again, such satisfaction, and you just become proud. And that's what inspires you. Like, what inspires me to do great things is my kids and my family.
That's great. I'm actually going to use that quote. What inspires me to do great things is my kids, without a doubt. I mean, that's brilliant, by the way.
And you actually see that they often have more courage than us as adults, because the situations that they're forced to be, thrown into, whether it's a new school, whether it's a new sports team,
and they're seeing things for the first time. You've seen things
and they
before.
have no idea.
Right. Each day for a young child, they're facing something they've never seen before. Imagine that as adults. Adults, we like routine.
Totally.
Change gets a
It's
little
always
bit
easy to run away as adults, which is nonsense, because the kids can't run away.
That's right. New friends, new school, new situation, new subjects, learning things, all this constant kind of thing.
And they just do the best they can. And often, us as adults think that we need to do things differently because we're adults, or we don't want to actually fail. But actually, that's all part of the process.
Absolutely. I could not agree with that more. And that's really the joy, what's so great about fatherhood. I mean, to me, this is really at the heart of it. So let's do a little bit of housekeeping, right, so we can get this on our video. I can be found, my company, my camera store is Unique Photo. Everything can be found at uniquephoto.com, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything. I am Matt Sweetwood. My website's everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, M Sweetwood. And my personal blog, where I have all my really cool parenting articles, is msweetwood.com. And you're going to use some of my material, right? So you're going to push some of the advice that I have and some of the life stories I have out, and really be good to see a lot of content on the Tinybeans app.
Sure. Look, for us, it's all about how do we take that content and help the parents.
And how do we find you? So if I want to get the app, you tell me what I need to know.
Sure. So it's pretty simple. The app's called Tinybeans. It's one word. You can go to the App Store. You can go to the Play Store and download the app. It's free. You go to our website, which is tinybeans.com. Facebook with Tinybeans Kids, Twitter Tinybeans Kids, and Instagram Tinybeans Kids.
Tinybeans Kids, okay, great.
But if you just search for Tinybeans on the web, you find us all, and you'll find all the different references. If you want to find me personally, you can find me on LinkedIn. It's Eddie Geller, G-E-L-L-E-R, but also email is eddie@tinybeans.com.
One last thing before we go. Tell me something that's coming in the future for Tinybeans.
There's so much. It's all very exciting, to be honest with you. So to be honest with you, we believe, again, we want to create this sort of very rich, innocent experience that's authentic for parents. What's coming up is that we want to curate a wonderful experience for the parents where they almost be using us preemptively for their kids. So some of the things coming up in the next 6 months that you can watch out for is here's a weekend coming up. In my child's 18 months, here are the things I could be doing to help them foster their development preemptively.
Wow, that's big. I mean, that's a really, really big thing.
Yeah, we're very excited by that.
And when do you think that'll be out? Is it 6 months or so?
Yeah, hopefully sometime early next year is the plan.
Okay, great. It was great being here with you today.
It
was fun, and I hope you enjoyed our talk today, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks very much.